What's up, everybody? Welcome to Smoking Weed and Talking Mixed Martial Arts. My name is Jarrod. I'm here with Paul.
What's up?
And today we're going to be smoking some herb and talking all about UFC 241, DC versus Stipe Miocic, which saw DC get KO'd in the fourth round. We're going to be talking about Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis and the rest of what was a pretty entertaining card last night, as well as what's next for the winning and losing fighters. We're going to take a look at some rumored and announced fights, talk a little bit about the heavyweight boxing division. But first, let's talk about our weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
Today we are still smoking on some Dirty Sprite left over from our last week's episode. And to the mix, we've added some Gorilla Glue number 4, which Paul just took a hit of. But you know what? I should correct that, Paul. It's not Gorilla Glue number 4
GG number
anymore.
4, sir.
It's GG4 or Original Glue.
Yeah.
Because, of course, if folks, you haven't heard, Gorilla Glue, the actual glue manufacturer, sued the creator of this strain to quit using the name, which is fucking lame, but whatever. Some good weed. I'm not going to dive into Dirty Sprite because we've talked about that all last week. Gorilla Glue, not a rare strain. It's all over the place. Pretty much everybody's heard about it, but it is fucking killer. This one's rocking at, what did you say, 26%?
Yeah.
26% THC is pretty good. It is an indica heavy strain. It's like 60-40 indica.
Yeah.
Which some people say that's where it gets its name from because it leaves you, quote unquote, feeling glued to the couch.
Yep.
I think it's a bit more likely that it gets that name from the fact that it's notoriously sticky weed.
Yeah, that too.
It's very, very resinous herb, super fucking sticky. I've gotten Gorilla Glue that's so fucking just sticky, icky before you just can't even roll it. Like
That's
you're,
what
you're
broke.
not
That's
rolling
what
a
broke
joint.
your grinder.
Yeah.
Dude. Remember that Gorilla
we
Glue I
that
had
Gorilla
broke?
Glue broke my still busted grinder. Yeah. Straight up. So either way, however it got its name, dude, it's a staple. You can find that shit
You
in
find it everywhere.
any dispensary.
Yeah.
Any dispensary in Vegas has it for the most part. Any dispensary where you're at, if you're lucky enough to live in a legal state, you can find that shit pretty easy too. So whatever you're smoking on, you should fire that shit up. We're going to keep smoking this. And let's fucking dive into UFC 241. It's been a little while now, but like you just said before we fired up the show, is my best dream happened. What I wanted. I've been fucking saying for goddamn months on this show, months
Years.
and months.
A year since it happened.
That DC lucked his way into that fight with that goddamn eye poke that blinded Stipe, and then he got knocked out on the same side as the eye poke. Stipe took a lot of criticism, right? Some of it rightly at the time, it seemed correct for waiting for this fight. But what'd he do? He came out, had a little adversity in the first couple
A lot
rounds,
of adversity, though.
but then he fucking
Yeah.
took him out. The only man now at heavyweight to beat Daniel Cormier, and the only person other than John Jones to do so.
I think it solidified Stipe as the greatest heavyweight of all time last night.
Undeniable. He now has the record for most defenses of the UFC heavyweight title and the only heavyweight to beat Daniel Cormier. And not just beat him, but I mean, he left him on the canvas looking pretty
KO.
upset.
Yep.
Yeah, he put him down with them body shots in the fourth, man.
Well, you know what he did different this time that he didn't do the last time?
What's that?
Is he weathered the storm a lot better. Like, he was getting hit with those same punches he got hit early with the first fight in this fight as well. It wasn't like came in and his whole game plan was changed. It was like the first 3 rounds, everyone was like, what the fuck, Stipe? Like, did you not learn anything from the first fight?
Yeah, even he said
Like,
in the after fight that the first couple rounds, he's like, what the hell?
it was strange what he was doing, too. Like, DC was doing this thing where he, like, was coming out, hands straight up, catching DC's hands, and then throwing over him.
You mean
And
catching Stipe's hands and throwing
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
He
was
landed his fucking
a lot of
goddamn
them.
eye poke strategy that way, too. Stipe, once again, took a thumb to the eye.
You know what he did
And
differently
2 warnings
this time,
to
though?
DC to keep his fucking fingers closed.
Here's the thing he did different, though.
What's that?
This time, last time Stipe tried to punch through it because he was mad. He was getting poked in the eye, and he was like, I'm just going to bite down on the mouthpiece. No one pokes me in the eyes. Like, that's like the kind of mentality he had about. This time, though, when he got poked in the eye, he took a step back, and he's like, whoa, you just poked me in the eye. You know what I mean? It wasn't
was
like,
clear.
it wasn't like, because
Even
Not-
Rogan was like, he just took his thumb right in the eye.
Yeah, and freaking last time it was like, oh, he's getting poked in the eye, and then Stipe tried to fight through it. And it was like, dude, if you're getting poked in the eye, take a step back, alert the official, and take your time because you have run the 5 minute clock, you know. And I think Stipe this time approached it a lot better than he did last time, and like kind of got a little bit of time, and then just was a quick restart. But yeah.
I see in the third round, he really woke up. I mean, he took Daniel down in the third round.
He started landing a lot more than he had in the first 2 rounds of the
Is
third.
he now
as
the
well.
only man not named John Jones to take DC down as well?
No, dude. They kept saying that. Gustafson took
That's what I was
DC
thinking.
down.
They kept saying that afterwards, but I thought Gus got a takedown on him,
Yeah,
too.
he did.
That's what I thought. So
That's what they kept saying. They're like, oh, only John Jones ever took DC down. I was like, no, I remember Gus took him down
I
too.
thought he did too.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts immediately afterwards, seeing DC down, slumped against the cage,
Dude, I was ecstatic.
Stipe breaking out into some crazy Croatian crip walk dance?
Dude, he hit like a freaking jig real quick. What was that?
He said he didn't even know he felt. He seemed like he felt pretty stupid for that. After. It was just a burst of emotion. Fuck it. Stipe's a funny guy. He doesn't get a lot of credit because he's so gravelly voiced. You can't.
Yeah, you can't
You have to
understand what he's saying.
You have to be able
Him
to
and
get
Nate,
the
dude, is
Stipe
like-
ear.
God,
Well, once
the-
you learn that to decipher what they're saying, then you can kind of hear it all the time. Like I don't have
Yeah.
any problem with Nate because I've been listening. to
Nate's
Nate for
rough,
years.
dude.
And Stipe, I'm starting to get him. Like you watch enough of him on Embedded, and you start to understand the gravel.
Yeah.
But
Dude.
I was screaming at the TV. I was so happy. That's what I've been waiting for, man. It vindicates everything that.
Those
talked
body
about it
shots
on
in the
this
fourth
show.
were so fucking nice.
They were beautiful.
And you know what Stipe's biggest problem was? And Joe said it in the third as well. He was like, or no, I think Cruz said it. He was like, the problem with DC and the problem with Stipe right now is DC's running out of gas because he's throwing 4 punches at a time. But Stipe is not landing because he's only throwing 2 at a time. Like, it was like a weird dynamic. It was like DC was throwing a lot more, so he was naturally landing more. But Stipe, like, come on, man, put it together. He was just trying that same 1-2. If you really look at it, if you look at the fight as a whole, like, yeah, he threw a few hooks, but he just kept trying to hit DC with that 1-2, and DC would just get out of range, and he wouldn't land.
He
And
didn't
it was
fight
like
himself.
it was
until
weird, man.
Around the third and then the fourth, he just was like, okay,
Yeah, the fourth he turned it
there's
all around.
opportunity here to fight like I know how to fight. And he put him away. Put him away. Solidifies himself. in your
How much do you
mind,
think
my
that has
mind.
to do with how light he came in?
I think it plays a significant portion, actually.
Yeah,
He's tough as fuck. He took DC's best shots.
he came in the lightest he's ever come in his entire career.
Yeah.
He looked like it too.
He looks strong. He took all them shots.
How much? You know what Joe brought up on his podcast a couple weeks ago. How much do you think fighting Ngannou and DC back to back had to do with how his chin was in his last fight? Because think about the shots he took against Ngannou in the first round.
Yeah, he took
And then he
monster shots.
couldn't take a shot against DC. He got fucking lit up. But then in this fight, DC hit him with more than a couple of those same exact punches, and it just didn't seem to phase him like it did in the first fight.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
So you're saying basically the after effects of the Ngannou fight
Yeah.
were still
Lingering on his
lingering
chin.
him.
You know. And then,
You combine that with just getting blindsided because
yeah,
there's
because
no way he
the
could see that
Ngannou fight
punch
was
coming.
only like 4 months prior, right?
I think that could be correct. I'm not certain.
Because
I
I
don't
know
have it in
Stipe
front of
turned
me.
it around real quick. Either way.
That's an interesting concept.
And
but
then he takes a year off, and then he comes back and does that.
once he got into that groove, man, oh man, Stipe Miocic, he's going to be lighting Cleveland on fire again.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a third fight, though.
I think Cormier is more likely to retire. I'm not saying it's a sure thing. It could be a third fight. DC might want that back.
Well, I
He
think
just
that's the
might
only
take
fight
Dustin
on
down.
the table for DC at this point.
Yeah, that John Jones fight's kind of dead, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, because he doesn't even have the belt. What's he going to come back down to light heavyweight and fight Jones for what?
get his ass kicked again.
Yeah.
The big thing that was supposed to
He
give him a
literally
chance
was-
was it was at heavyweight, and he was so quote unquote strong.
Well, and the one thing too, he said when he was on Ariel's show on Monday, he said that he no longer wanted to put his kids through what they had to go through the first time or the second time he lost to Jones because they were like old enough to understand what happened. And then all these videos come out last night of his kids fucking bawling when he's lit.
Yeah,
and,
you
and
had him there in the arena.
yeah, it's like rough, man. It's
backstage.
hard to watch for anybody who has kids because it's like, you know, you can feel for him, but at the same time, it's like if he's come out and said that he doesn't want to put his kids through that, why would he put himself and his family in the situation of him fighting Jones again and very, very possibly getting knocked out again? Because, I mean, DC's only DC's only lost to two people, but they both knocked him out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think he can necessarily go back. I mean, there's a chance it's heavyweight fighting, but I don't think he beats DC in a rematch either. I mean, I'm sorry, Stipe in a rematch.
Yeah.
I think that Stipe would definitely have the upper hand. I mean, Stipe didn't fight like
I don't know, though.
himself.
I've never
Once
seen-
Stipe got himself dialed in to how we've seen him in multiple other fights. He took him out.
To be honest, though,
He fucking took him out.
something was going on in his head though last night, DC, because like he was asking between rounds. He's like, "Am I losing?" After he had like his two most dominant rounds, he goes to the corner and says, "Am I losing?" So like, what
He
the fuck
getting
was going
knocked
on in his
silly.
head? Like,
Stipe hits hard.
well,
man.
no, not even that. It was before Stipe was even
Fucking
hitting him
rattled.
though.
He was getting hit something. It's not like Stipe
In the
missed
first
him.
two rounds, though, Stipe, he was getting hit a lot harder than Daniel was getting hit. And he came in after the second round to his corner and said, "Am I losing this fight?"
Yeah, I think he got rattled.
I think, like, mentally he was rattled, not necessarily, like, punch-wise. I think, like, he was rattled about the whole situation for
He
some
really
reason.
seemed to disrespect Stipe pre-fight. Like some of that you can chalk up to acting or theatrics or selling the fight, and some of it, and he was just like, "He's not good as me. He can't beat me," and he seemed to be talking sincerely, like.
Well, and Daniel
Like, I'm on a
Cormier has
whole
always
other
had that
level.
confidence, though, because Daniel Cormier, when he said the same thing about John, and John did the same
I mean,
thing
you're
twice.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean,
It's-
like, you have to be that cocky as a fighter, but at the same time, you have to respect your fucking opponents.
And I think he does respect DC, but I think he does respect Stipe. I think at the same time though, he felt like he was at a level like here's the thing with DC. He's got a great resume, but he's also got a resume of guys who are like the second tier of the top level. Like he's got wins against like Frank Mir out of his prime, like fucking Dan Henderson out of his prime. But I'm not knocking DC as
Dan
a
was
fighter
a
right now.
tiny
But I'm saying
against him,
my
too.
point is like he's beat everybody under the champion always. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
in the two times he's fought for titles, you can't really count all his like
It's like he's
defenses
whooping
because
up
those
on
are
Gus,
all
he's
guys.
whooping up on Anthony
Yeah, he's
Johnson.
beaten guys that John has already beat, or it consensus like the consensus argument is like
Yeah, I
John
guess I
would
see what
beat
you're
them.
saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know, because now it hurts his legacy for sure. If people out there love DC and I hate DC obviously,
I don't
but
like
I
him
feel
either.
like this hurts his legacy big time. He went from being the double champ to no champ within a year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because he got stripped either. He got stripped of the Jones fight, then go down there and get it again.
Yeah, but he was never. I mean, let's be honest. He was a bit of a paper champ at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get
And John
knocked
Anik,
out.
get off his dick.
And
man.
people, if you
Oh
don't
my
if you don't
God.
don't know what I mean by that, just a quick history for our listeners. You know, he got knocked out by John Jones, and then the fight got overturned, and John Jones won the title back in his comeback, and then
Yeah.
the fight got
Well,
overturned
no,
later to a no contest, and they literally just gave the belt back to
Here,
DC. Like,
here's
here
the
you
thing.
go.
Here's the thing.
Like,
Let's go all the way
mean-
back. Let's go all the way back. John Jones was supposed to fight Alexander Gustafsson after he beat up Chael, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think it was after he beat up Chael. Could have been another fight. But so he fights Gus. There's going to be a rematch. Gus gets hurt. DC steps in. John Jones beats him up for 5 rounds. Remember,
Yeah,
what
it
was the
wasn't a
scores?
close
What
fight.
were the scores? I swear it was
50-45.
like 50-45 across the board.
Maybe one.
Maybe it was like
maybe one
49,
round,
46, but
Maybe on some judges' scorecards.
yeah,
It wasn't a close fight.
was not close fight at all. So then after the fight, John Jones was signed to fight Anthony Johnson, and then John Jones's life obviously
Yeah,
went where it went. He gets in the car crash,
and all that shit.
and then Daniel Cormier decides to step in and fight Anthony Johnson, beats Anthony Johnson. So
He's given the title
He's
there,
given the
right.
title there,
Yeah.
and then carries it until Jones comes back. Finally, fucking forever
Yeah,
later,
after much drama later, then
and then
Gets
Jones
KTFO'd.
head kicks him, knocks him out, wins the title one night, gets stripped of the title the next week, and then fucking we're in the same boat.
yeah, then they just hand it
And
back
then
to DC.
DC takes it back again and beats all the shitty contenders of light heavyweight. Everyone has been saying how great light heavyweight is right now, but when DC was champion, everyone was saying it was the worst division in the UFC. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
that's not even bullshit. A year ago, people were saying the light heavyweight division was the worst division in the UFC.
Well, that's just the narrative they want. It seems when they want to trot out DC Jones. It's like Rogan was trying to say that last night again. Like, well, Jones has cleaned out the division. And, he's got to fight DC at light heavyweight now.
There's
That's
hella
bullshit.
contenders.
There's hella
Chris
contenders.
Weidman,
That's ridiculous.
fucking Dominic Reyes,
Right.
Johnny
Johnny
Walker,
Walker.
Corey Anderson, like, and all of them are fighting coming up. So it's like Jones is going to have a clear contender by the end of this
He's
year.
got a few good fights ahead of him.
Yeah.
So.
And he also might fight again this year.
But yeah, circling back to the main point. Yeah, that fight's dead. Jones,
Yeah, it's
Cormier,
done.
It's done.
There's no way. What does it do for Jones to beat the fuck out of him a third time?
He's got. There's no reward to him in that. If he beats him, it's like, okay, we've seen this now 3 times.
Yeah.
And if he loses, then
And if
he
he
risks
and
everything.
then if he wins, what are they going to run it back 2 more times after that? So he can tie the fucking like.
Please.
We're gonna have DC at, like, when he's 46 trying to beat John Jones still. Like, come on.
DC should retire. He was double champ.
He's got all the opportunities outside the octagon.
He's very
He's
busy
gotta
man.
go.
Does lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
In his interview with Brett Okamoto when he's in the locker room, like about an hour after the fight, he sounded like the only reason he wasn't retiring is because he beforehand had made a decision not to retire immediately after the fight, win or lose, because it's an emotional period.
Yeah.
But everything else he was
Everything
saying, from
was
his body
pointing to
language
it.
to his words, was, "I'm going to retire."
To his talking about it. Why, if you aren't thinking about it, why would you be talking about it? You know,
Yeah, and he brought up all the things you said: his family,
his family,
his kids.
his kids. He
Not
asked
much
his
left to
coach if
prove. He's
how
done
he would
everything.
feel. His coach said he wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Like-
how would you feel if I retired? And his coach would be okay with it. And he was like, okay. And he was like, I guess I could come back. Like, he literally
Yeah.
said the words, I guess. So we'll see what happens. That'll be interesting.
It will be.
Now, what about the Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis
Nate, fuck that fool
co-main
up,
fight-
dude.
co-main event at 170 pounds?
Yeah.
Nate was looking,
Nate just pieced him up, dude.
boy, did he ever.
And then did him dirty on the ground, too. He almost submitted him like 3 times.
Yeah, and what was it? The second round. I mean, he was getting pieced up right till the bell rang. Diaz or Anthony.
In the
was.
third, he dropped him. He's lucky they didn't stop it.
Yeah, I thought they were. I thought that was it. I thought it was over.
I was like, damn, Nate just knocked him out. And then they didn't stop it. I was like, wow.
really shocked they didn't stop it.
And then Nate tried to do his natural thing and tried to choke him out, but he just didn't have enough time.
All right. Fuck. I mean, I
Nate
admire
thoroughly
Pettis
beat
for
the shit
trying,
out
but
of
I
him.
couldn't help but laugh a little bit when he was trying to like armbar Nate Diaz from the bottom. I was like, you have a better
he
chance
tried
of
like
knocking
he
him
tried
out
to
from the
triangle.
bottom
It was weird.
than like a triangle or an armbar. All he's trying to do. So
Yeah.
like, you're never gonna submit
Nah.
Nate Diaz off of your back, dude.
That's
Ever.
fucking. Remember
Never.
that guillotine when he fucking doubled him and he tried to guillotine him and
Yeah.
it just wasn't in.
No.
And everyone was like, "Oh, it's close," and
No.
everyone, Joe Rogan's like, "No, it's not."
That's not where he's going to win the fight. But
Yeah.
it was an entertaining scrap. Man, Nate Diaz is back. Calls
I-
out George Masvidal afterwards.
I can't wait for that.
Please make that fight.
That'd be such a great fight.
Masvidal seems down. He seemed pretty interested. He was actually, I found a video clip of him 2 days before the fight.
Saying he wants to fight Nate.
He wants to fight for a title, but he'd signed to fight Nate Diaz. And then
So let's
Diaz
have a
goes
little
out and does
4-man
this.
tournament at MSG because I don't think Nate's really at any like fatigue after that fight. To be honest,
are you talking?
throw that
you
throw that in
talking
November.
George versus
George
Nate
versus
and
Nate,
Usman
Colby versus
Colby?
Usman.
Oh,
Winners
please.
fight each other, dude.
Oh,
And then
please,
Nate was talking shit about Usman this week too. He was talking about how the fuck you think you can just come up in the UFC after only fighting in here for 2 years, thinking you're the champion. You fucking suck. That's what he said.
Yeah.
I was like,
that.
oh wow, all right, Nate.
Nate. So I hope the UFC seizes the moment, which they've been known to do, because they know Masvidal's on fire right now.
Dude, imagine a Nate Diaz Colby Covington fight too. That'd be fucking. That'd be something else.
If Colby wins and Nate wins and they did that, that would be insane.
It'd really be like in a 5-round fight too, because like
Those
really
guys got gas
both
tanks
guys
and
got
punching for
tanks
days,
for
dude.
days,
Oh
dude.
my god!
And neither of them are slouches on the ground.
Right. And neither one of them are
Although
like the
I'd love
knockout
to,
artists, so
I'd
they
love
would
to
just
see,
be like,
I'd love to see how Colby could handle Nate's bottom game with Colby's
With his
top game, because
wrestling,
Colby
yeah.
doesn't really tend to pass guard much. He just pummels from full guard. You know what I mean?
I'd want to. That's a fight I'd want to see most out of that scenario playing out. Would be Colby.
But same
versus
thing,
Nate.
Usman and Colby are the same fighter. If you really think about it. It's just one
Usman packs a bit more knockout power. You could
a
say.
little bit, but neither of them has knocked anybody out. I don't think.
It's not in a while.
Yeah.
But fuck, dude, that'd be pretty sick. That'd be a sick matchup. The UFC should seize on this and do it. These guys are hot right now. Did you hear?
In my honest opinion, I think Nate fucks George up.
Oh, I think he does too. And that's not disrespecting George.
It's not disrespecting George at all.
Nate's
I
on
think
fire
Nate's
right now,
just-
and Nate's skill set has come together, and he's
Yeah.
about to whoop some ass.
He's in better shape than I've ever seen him in his
Yeah,
whole
170.
career either.
He's
Holy
filled
shit.
out. He's 34
filled
years
out.
old. He's big. He's tough. He's strong, and he's got a gas tank.
And he can take a fucking punch. Jesus.
Oh yeah. Did you hear? Which is pretty. I thought was pretty ironic. Did you hear White last night? Dana White say he actually said the words. He had to walk it back. He said, "Nate Diaz moves the needle." Then he said it again. He is a needle mover. Which, if you hadn't heard, folks, that was a famous quote from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, after
when,
the Conor fight,
Yeah,
right?
right after the Conor fights, when Nate was holding out
Nate
for
was
money.
holding out for more money.
And Dana White comes out in an interview and says he's not going to pay Nate because Nate's not a, quote, needle mover.
Yeah.
And then, which was a joke then. It was ridiculous. And then he came out and made a point of using that term, which I was like, word. And then he said that he thinks Nate's just as equal a star as Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey. Which, imagine if the UFC gets behind Nate the anti-hero. This could be interesting, man. They could
Yeah.
really fucking pump it up.
For real.
Because they never get behind the Diaz's. If they fucking seize on it now, that'd be pretty cool.
For the first time. And you know what? Nate talked about it during the week, too. He's like, he had a conversation with his brother earlier in the month, kind of, where his brother, he was like talking about how, like, the UFC had fucked both them over, and then he kind of was just like, don't make the stupid decisions I make to him. And he's like, don't let it pass you by, just like for your own pride, really. Which really, if you think about it, that's what the Diaz brothers kind of has been their undoing in the UFC.
Yeah, their own stubbornness and refusal to play ball sometimes has kept them a little bit from the UFC embracing them, and it's kept them. I mean, they still get a lot of shine because of their own work and their own personality, but not from the organization.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
Nate seemed a lot more media friendly this week, despite even skipping media day. Or whatever it was. He skipped some shit. Maybe it wasn't media day. Because I saw him in a bunch of interviews.
Yeah.
It was the most open I'd seen him all week. That Okamoto interview pre-fight was great.
yeah, super good.
His scrum pre-fights were...
His open workout was great.
Yeah, his workout was great. Which, if you didn't know, that was not a weed joint that he fired up. And everyone's openly talking about it now. He has a fucking CBD company. It was a CBD hemp that they fucking sell. But...
Come on, man! It was a cooler story.
it was pretty awesome either way. It was funny in the press conference after the fight in his scrum. The media, one of the guys from the media was like, when are you gonna smoke some weed for real? And he's like, the second you motherfuckers let me get out of here.
Dude, nah, that father joke was funny because I guess I didn't even know this. I guess Nate Diaz like recently had a kid or something.
Yeah, I didn't know that
And
either,
then
but that came out.
the
He said that
fucking
he's been.
the media guy goes, "Hey, how does like having a child change how you approach this game and how you view it?" He's like, "Not at all. I've been a father for years. I've been fathering these punk ass bitches for
He's like, I'm a father and these little motherfuckers all over the
Yeah.
place.
That shit was funny, dude. Oh god. But yeah, Nate Diaz has got a bright future on the horizon.
Yeah, let's see if this. Let's hope this plays out with the UFC backing him up and pumping him out, and let's get this big Masvidal fight going down at MSG. That'd be the shit.
Yeah, because Masvidal looks ready to go. Nate didn't really face too much damage last night. So
They kept trying to ask him about Connor, and and you and everybody who listens to this podcast knows that we're big Connor fans. But man, fuck that noise. Fuck Connor right now. No, let's leave McGregor out of this fucking conversation. He's done nothing to warrant any place in this fucking current conversation. And we're talking about the 170 weight class, for God fucking
it's
sake.
not even the same weight class anymore. Yeah.
Let's fucking drop that noise with the fucking Connor bullshit.
Yeah.
And do Nate, just like you said, that little four-man, Usman,
Four-man
Colby,
tournament.
Nate, Jorge, George, whatever he likes to go by these days.
Yeah.
And fucking winners face each other.
Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll take it. Nate stepping right back into the title picture. I don't know how, but he does. Welterweight kind of needs it-ish.
They need some stars.
Dude, how
to-
mad... You know who woke up pissed
up.
off this morning?
Who that?
Leon Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
He woke up this morning. Are you
Edwards.
fucking kidding me? Not again. Because remember how bad he campaigned for either the George or Darren Till winner? And then it goes to Ben Askren, and he was pissed. Ends up getting RDA. He's like, that's not going to happen again. Now I whooped RDA. Now I need the George fight. It needs to happen. And it got a little bit of traction. And George
Got
was
a
like,
little
fuck
bit for a
him.
minute,
And then Nate Diaz steps into the picture and is like, I'm going to fucking fight George.
Leon Edwards is like, Nate
Leon's
Diaz,
like,
you're taking everything I work for. Yeah, nobody wants to see that fight.
Leon Edwards on like a 47 fight win streak and shit.
And then nobody wants to see that
No one
fight now.
cares.
No one gives a fuck right now, and I don't even feel bad about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because
He's,
Nate and fucking and George is so fucking sick.
yeah,
I
I'll
don't
take
give a
that
fuck.
over any fight.
I'm typically
versus Leon
one
Edwards.
complaining about the sporting aspect not being followed enough, but I don't care.
I'm
Not
not.
in
I'm
this
over it at
case.
this
I
point.
don't care. As long as we get Colby Usman, because that needs to happen.
Yeah.
That's just got to happen. You can't keep
Madison
denying
Square Garden
Colby.
makes the most sense for
do
that one too.
Fucking get that noise done, and then fuck a rematch. There's
Yo.
no reason for the immediate rematch for that
Yo.
fight, no matter who wins, because they're fresh. You know, there's no title defenses. Fuck all that noise. Fresh fight right after that. Winners. Please be.
You
Nate
see what
fucking
Colby
Colby.
said on Food Truck Diaries?
Yeah, I watched that interview with Brendan Schaub. I liked
Did
it.
you see what he said about the MSG?
He said a lot in that card. It was like a 30-minute
He said
interview. I don't
that he's
remember.
gonna fight Kamaru Usman at MSG, and Donald Trump's gonna be front row.
Oh yeah, he's been saying that for weeks though, or for months now. Trump ain't gonna be front running.
That would be so ridiculous.
The
That would like sell his WWE career right there.
he'll probably still get the two sons to show up though.
Well, they were at the last one.
Yeah,
He's ridiculous, dude.
he's playing a character to get into WWE, which I don't like. I'm not a fan of wrestling. I think his shtick is corny. But being an entrepreneur myself, and always wanting
Yeah.
to see these guys try. Like, I'm not saying he's going to necessarily
definitely-
succeeding.
Yeah.
But if he's really, he seemed in this interview with Ariel Helwani to sincerely be saying that what he's trying to accomplish is to be the first dude to hold a UFC title and then go to the WWE at the exact same time and fight for a title over there.
I wonder
which
what Dana,
would be
how
a
that
big
would like,
payday.
deal with his contract.
And I admire that hustle. That's why he's doing the whole shtick, because it's all an interview for Vince McMahon. It's all a look at me, the pro wrestler. And I hate that pro wrestling stick. I haven't watched that shit since I was fucking 8. But, you know, I get it. I
I
respect
mean,
it.
Colby looks like he's wearing fucking eye makeup all the time, anyways.
He probably is. But did you hear what a lot of people were saying, too, that,
What?
like Brendan is like, I know this is a stick because I know you outside.
Yeah,
of
he
here.
kept
Like,
saying
you're
it,
a
and
nice
he was
dude.
he
Like
was
you're
really
nothing like this.
he was really trying to
But Colby
deflect it
wouldn't break
hard.
character.
He was
Nah.
deflecting
He did a
it
little
hard.
bit.
Yeah, he did like a
He
little
admitted
tiny
it's
bit.
he's like, yeah, it's a stick, but he's like, he wouldn't
But
break it.
yeah, he wouldn't break it. Yeah.
I mean, for goodness sakes, he had like
He's
two
like,
hot
well, no.
girls with
Here's
him.
what he did. He was like, I know people that know you when you're off camera, and they say you're a good guy. So like, I can only go off what they say. And he was like, he's like, yeah, I guess you could just have to go off what other people say. He was like, he was saying shit like that. He wasn't
Right.
going like, yeah, they're right. He's like, I guess you'll just have to listen to them because they're great people.
Well, this will be interesting how all it plays out with these four, man. If the UFC can fucking do it right, and ESPN's going to be pressuring them to make these kind of deals now.
Absolutely.
So they might actually get done.
Dude,
But,
Nate Diaz was trending on Twitter for about an hour after that fight.
yeah, ESPN's watching that shit, and being as they're getting that pay-per-view revenue now, which
Yeah.
has been shit.
Yeah, it's
Let's
some
be
trash.
honest, it's not been miraculous.
Well, here's the thing, though. They already make their nut, though. It's not like it's ESPN, dude. ESPN doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's Disney owned.
You know what I
They're
mean?
not
Like
hurting
they don't
for
give a
cash.
fuck.
That's why they can play.
They
the
sign
longer.
the deal and they wait till it hits a peak. Like think about it. Think about NFL football. NFL football is like the fucking viewership rating is dropping year by year by year by year.
Mm-hmm.
But ESPN still holds Monday Night Football every year, which everyone complains about. Every year has the worst matchups, but every year ESPN has Monday Night Football because they have so much money behind what is ESPN. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, it's Disney. Disney owns
Yeah.
fucking everything.
And
They've
Disney's
monopolized the
making this big
entertainment
streaming move,
business.
and UFC's move is what? Streaming. Like
Yeah.
it fits right into
Exactly.
the Disney future.
Yeah, Disney's
fucking
about to
concept.
drop like the
So-
craziest streaming fucking app of all time, and
So yeah, point being, they're safe with their shitty pay-per-views.
Yeah,
like,
they
they
don't
don't
give a
have
fuck.
to sell.
Yeah.
But they want to build it, and they're going to want to build it with some marquee matchups.
oh yeah, absolutely.
They're going to sit there and pressure the UFC to put these fights together, which might actually get some done. I still don't think it'll get Conor in there, but
Yeah.
it might get Nate fucking and George
Well,
fighting.
think about this too. It's like two major. When you think about the UFC and ESPN, it's like two major like corporations like dealing with each other because you have WME behind the UFC, who owns the UFC, dealing with Disney. Yeah, on the smaller level, it's kind of Dana White dealing with the people from ESPN, but it's also two giant fucking
Yeah, they're also just
Yeah.
little
billion
children
dollar
companies of
Yeah,
ginormous
exactly.
fucking players.
Exactly. So there's money behind both those fucking sides. And as long as they're selling at least what they could deal with, there's not going to be any issues. Once they start like getting like ridiculously low numbers, which they never will.
Yeah, they need it to keep
you know.
trending up, even if it's a slow burn. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Which they are. It's catching on now because people can't deny some of the matchups they're putting on. Maybe something
Well,
like
this card delivered. It's been
Yeah.
shit. These fucking fight nights have been shit. These past 3 cards have been fucking garbage, man.
Yeah, but you can't deny there's been a few cards
They've
this
had a
year
main
where you've been
event
like,
that was
holy
good.
shit. Like, the Cejudo Moraes card was a great card.
Yeah. Last night was a winner. I mean, you pay $60 for that shit, you really can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking A. Well, let's circle back to that card, man. I think that wraps up Diaz and Pettis. I mean, where does Pettis go from here? I don't know. Anywhere. He's
Pettis,
just
yeah,
treading
do
water.
whatever he
I mean,
wants. He fucked his ankle up last night, though, so
Yeah,
he might be out for a
fucking
little
Nate
bit.
checked that kick. I love people were playing it like.
No,
oh,
he said he
broke
kicked him
his
in the
ankle.
head. He said he's got to put out a fucking tweet.
trying to say it
It's like
didn't
you
come
got a
from
hard
that
head,
check.
homie. It might be the check too, but I think it
Yeah.
definitely is probably accumulative because Nate wasn't. I don't know. Leg kicks it's a dangerous game to play because you can hurt yourself a lot too. Like look at Henry Cejudo when he fought Moraes, his legs were fucked up after. Everyone like
Look at
you know what I'm
Demetrius
saying?
Johnson
It's like
fought the 4th round against
Yeah,
Cejudo with a
exactly.
broken foot.
yeah, those leg kicks like they damage your opponent, but there's a pretty high chance that you could be injured in the process as well. So, dude, it's like taking 2 baseball bats and fucking clanging them together.
I know,
Like
it's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
Well, let's move on to that 3rd fight from the top, which was another fucking barn burner. We saw it's 185 pounds. Yoel Romero coming back against the undefeated Paulo Costa, razor thin decision.
Yeah.
You can make arguments either way. Costa
Definitely
gets the
fight of the
decision,
year
which
candidate.
I wasn't surprised by just the way the fight played out, but I think there's arguments to go either way there. I was wrong when I guess Yoel did technically land more punches, like 7 more or some shit.
Yeah.
But it was.
I was surprised by that because Paulo was throwing so many punches. Holy shit! But at the third round, when Paulo's arms were shot, Yoel was throwing a shit ton of punches. So maybe that's where he caught up.
It was a great fight. Goes to decision. First finish that Costa hasn't had. All of his fights have been finishes up to this point, but he gets the win. All 3 judges' scorecards.
I don't know. I scored it rounds 2 and 3 to Romero and round 1 to Costa.
I think just like the judges, based on that forward aggression, because I felt like everything else kind of canceled each other out. So
I think where the differences was in the second round. Yeah, he was pushing forward, but he was eating shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at it, yeah, Costa's pushing forward, but Yoel's sitting on the cage, dodging fucking half the punches he's throwing, and then coming back and hitting him with one's back and backing him up. And then, yeah, he'd drive forward, but then Yoel would push him back. And then they'd come back, and then he'd push him back. So it's like, it was part of his game plan. It's not necessarily that Costa was in a dominant, like, forward. Like, it's not like he was pushing forward, dominating him.
When you look at the stats of who was pressuring, you see that for fucking
it was 13% to 46%.
13% to 46%. I mean, that's dominant in one fighter's direction. You can't be pressing forward 13% of the time in a razor thin fight and expect the judges to hand it to you, unless you're the champ.
Yeah, but he was like almost roping doping him because
maybe
he
if you're
knew
the
he was
champ.
going to gas late. Everyone knows he's going to gas late. That's why I'm scared for
even
Paulo
with him-
Costa to
with
fight a
him maybe
5-round fight.
gassing late, he's still hung in there in that third round. I mean,
Yeah, that's one thing about the UFC, man. It's
I don't know if he can do
it's
a
different.
5-round fight either. I don't think.
Yeah, it's so different than boxing. Like in boxing, when you have a guy like Paulo Costa, who's a big muscly guy, you can take 2 or 3 rounds off to make him tired.
Yeah,
in the
you can't
UFC,
do that
you
in the
can't
UFC.
take any fucking time off. If it's not a 5-round fight, you're fucked.
Especially
because
in the third round, it's risky doing it in a 5-round.
yeah,
But a third round, you can't possibly.
you can't take a round off
You
at
can't
all.
employ the rope.
Well, not even take a round off. You can't tire an opponent out for a round
Not
because
really.
that has to guarantee you have to win the next 2 rounds in a dominant fashion.
Costa had
Because
to
the second
chill,
round,
man.
Yoel was hitting him with big shots. Yeah, they were trading, but then at the end of the round, Yoel blasted through and took him down, and he was on his back at the end of the round. So I think that should have sealed the round for Yoel because sure he was trading with him, but everyone saw the bigger shots were being landed by Yoel. He dazed him multiple times, and then fucking takes him down, like blasted it straight through. It's like I don't understand it.
I don't know. For me, I saw him backing up the entire round, landing a few shots, and then at the end getting a takedown that didn't negate backing up the entire fight.
See, but
and having your back against
I think
the
that was
cage.
part of the game plan was to back up though, because he's lulling him
I'm
into
not
a
disagreeing with that.
You know what I'm
just
saying?
like, if it goes to a decision, like that's the risk you run. Is the judge is going, "Oh, did he win the fight?" Because I just saw him backing up half the time.
Yeah, but I think that just has to go back.
It'd be different if he had
I think this all
outpunched
goes
him,
back
like, in
to
a significant way. But I mean, 7 strikes over the course of 3-round differential is the same. They landed the same amount. You know, it'd be different. He landed 100 more strikes backing up. Well, then you'd be like, "Well, fuck." He was way.
Well,
busier.
let's just if we're going to the bottom of the barrel, octagon control to decide the fight.
Yeah, I know. That's.
Let's also go to the idea of who the fuck looks like they won that fight. If you were standing right there and you didn't even watch
I
the
don't
fight,
think damage after the fight matters to anything.
does.
Especially
Yoel's
when,
strikes had a lot more power behind them than
You've
Paulo.
never seen Yoel cut. Can you cut Yoel?
Gold comes out.
I don't think that's. I think that might be credible against other people, but not against
He
him.
fucked him
I
up,
think you
dude.
could probably take a baseball bat to that fool and work him over, and he would look fine.
I don't know. Yoel,
What was it that Romero or Whitaker said after fighting him? That like
He was,
he's
like,
so
hitting a
fucking
cinder brick
hard
wall.
that like it hurt his hands, like
Yeah.
punching that motherfucker.
yeah, fucking Rockgold said the same thing.
Yeah. And if we'd
Rockhold
only
said,
heard that from Rockhold, I'd figure that's just because Rockhold's a bitch, right? But
Rockhold said
Whitaker's
fighting
not a bitch.
Romero is like running into a brick wall. And just keep. It's like every time you punch him, it's like running into a brick wall every time.
I think that's legit.
But dude, for real, at the end of the fight, you got to think who dazed each other more. I feel like Romero had him dazed a whole lot more than Paulo had Romero dazed.
I think Romero should employ a little bit of brains to go. If that's your strategy, like you said, is to back up and back up and back up, then he should.
It's kind of, you know who it
Remember
reminds
that
me of?
judges don't like that. Like, that's not like a surprise. Like, fuck, dude, I told you that before that came out. That's what was going to happen.
This reminds me a lot of John Dobson after his title reign. After he
John
fought,
Dobson, that
after he
happened to him a
fought
lot,
DJ.
too. Yeah, that happened
Remember,
to
he
him.
fought like
Yeah.
three fights in a row where everyone thought he won the fight because he backed up the whole time.
Yeah.
He
No,
lost.
yeah, you're right. Is that my
This,
chair
you know what
squeaking
this
like
all
that?
goes back to, man? It all goes back to like I feel like judges have to be in like a controlled area and just watch the
They don't
fight.
need 3 judges. That's one of the things I agree with Rogan on. They need more. They need like 5 or 6.
6 would be what if it?
Just
6
sit
would be a
around the
draw.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Or 7, obviously.
Or why don't you have like the NFL? You got 3 judges on the bottom and then 3 judges up in the booth watching it on the above angle. You know what I'm
the only
talking about?
reason there's 3 judges is because boxing has 3 judges.
Yeah.
This isn't
Well,
boxing. It's not even in the same.
That's the whole thing. Everything
Like,
everything
space.
for as far as like combat sports is kind of like there's almost like a rule set that has become like across each combat
Yeah,
sport.
they just
you know what
apply
I mean?
it,
Like,
even
there's
though the
like,
sports
oh,
are
boxing
vastly
does it
different.
like this. Let's do it across everything.
Imagine if they did that with like ball
Same thing with
sports. Well,
the
they use a
athletic
ball.
commission. Same thing with the commissions. It's all boxing commissions.
Yeah, and they just take over and run that too. Yeah, and apply all of the same thinking and rule sets, and then it slowly changes. Like MMA has slowly evolved and added some better rule sets in, and eventually it'll get
And
better.
still half the fucking country still doesn't follow those though.
I know, it's absurd. But then we had a good featherweight bout before
Yeah,
that.
Sadiq Yusuf putting on another great performance. I put
Sadiq Yusuf is a powerhouse.
hell yeah,
Guy's
he
knocking
should be in
fools
that
out.
top 15 come Tuesday.
He's got a bright future, it looks like. I mean,
Hell yeah.
damn.
That dude throws with bad intentions,
Yeah, he does. Another one of these
and
really
he took a big.
strong guys.
He was tested in that fight too. He was dazed. He was rocked for sure,
Yeah, yeah.
and he just kept throwing. That was the craziest part. Is he was rocked, and he would just. He didn't bite down on his mouthpiece, but he strategically like picked his shots but kept throwing. He didn't stop his pace that he started the fight with. You know, he didn't like shell up or like kind of stop fighting. He fought through being dazed. It was
Yeah.
crazy. And caught him with a perfect fucking counter. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was
Knocked
nice.
his head off, dude. It was rough. He literally just like it was nasty.
Very nasty. That was impressive. Good way to come out and make a statement on a pay-per-view. A lot of people didn't know.
Cool.
Who he
He's got a
was.
cool story too.
Yeah, it seems like it.
He's talking about like he after his first fight in the UFC, he like shipped a whole like bunch of goods back to his home.
Back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like all his people. That's fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
It's a
I'd
good
like to see
story.
that too.
Yeah.
Well, what else stood out for me in the card? I mean, what do you think is next for Costa? Do you think he's going to get that Israel Adesanya fight? If Adesanya beats Whitaker, or do you think he'll get Whitaker, or vice versa? Is he the next guy?
Sure. I mean, I don't really see anyone else at middleweight
No.
unless like Jack or Manson puts on like the greatest performance against, or vice versa. If Jack or Manson or what's the other guy's fighting? What's his name? Fuck, homeboy who just beat Jared Cannonier. If Cannonier or Hermanson put on a great performance, maybe they have a better claim because Hermanson just fucking pieced up the number one contender. Jacare was literally number one contender in everyone's eyes, and everyone did not understand why he took that fight.
Yeah, he got
And
worked.
he got
Nobody talking about
fucking
Jacare
worked.
now.
No one cares about Jacare right now. So now, if you're Hermanson and you piece up Cannonier like that too, you'd be like, fucking sit down, Paulo. You took 2 years off, bro. or a year off. Shit's changed. I'm winning this division now. Or fight him. Because who's to say this Adesanya Whitaker fight isn't just as good as every other fight Whitaker has? Every fight Whitaker has is a fucking war.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't get a rematch. Because Whitaker has every claim to a rematch that he wants at that weight class. Because he's been the top of the weight class for a while now. You know? If it's a close fight like him and Gaslam was, and it's like a knockdown, drag-out war like that, I could definitely see there being a rematch before Paulo Costa or Jack Hermanson gets a fight, and I think they would make Paulo Costa fight Jack Hermanson. Because going into this, he was ranked what, 9th? 7th? Something like that?
7th, yeah, something like that.
How do you get to just skip everybody? And it's not like Yoel's been super active in the division either. Yoel literally, before this, hadn't fought in longer than
Dude was
Paulo
on a
did.
game show.
Yeah.
Albeit a sports-themed one, but still.
Yeah. He had injuries. Paulo got
Didn't they
fined
book
by
this fight? They
USADA
booked
and
those two
shit.
like 3 times.
They booked it, I want to say 4.
Could be.
But you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't know if he just gets to jump everybody in line. That was a very entertaining fight, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a
But
good point.
the division, I don't know if he's as in touch with where the division's at right now, you know?
What did you think of the rest of the card, man? I mean, it was good overall. I don't know if there's anything that stood out enough I really want to talk about it. I did like Corey Sandhagen winning this fight against the Sunshine. I
Wasn't
surprised.
super freaking
It might not have been the most
though.
entertaining
Jeez.
fight, but I like the win. I
But
figured
neither
he'd
is the
get the win.
Sunsow, so luckily not.
I think Sandhagen's legit as fuck. I've been a
Yeah.
believer for a minute, and
Yeah.
Sunshine was ranked in the top 5, I do believe.
Fuck yeah.
So that's shaking things up a little bit down there. Other than that, there's not a lot to discuss further.
Bantamweight's just starting to rack them up, huh?
Yeah, it is. Well, let's bump into some announced and rumored fights. Let's talk about bantamweight.
I was gonna say, let's stay in bantamweight then.
Yeah.
So they're talking Aljamain Sterling and Frankie Edgar in MSG in November.
Would that be for an interim title?
I haven't heard anything about an interim title, but I wouldn't be surprised considering Aljamain has fought everybody in that division at this point.
They'll have to give one to
And
either
Frankie's coming off
flyweight or to
Yeah,
bantamweight if they're not going to strip him.
one or the other, yeah.
Because if he fights bantamweight, then they need to do a flyweight interim and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know. So I like that fight, sort of. I think it's dangerous for Aljo to keep taking fights, but if they make it for an interim belt, I can see
I don't think it's.
the allure there for
I think
him.
it's a dangerous risk, but I think it's a necessary risk if you're Aljamain Sterling and you're trying to leave a legacy behind. If you think you're the best in the world, you don't care.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Like
Frankie is a little bit over the hill, but you never know. He could be rejuvenated down at 135, too.
Sure, he could, but at the same time, that could also be a big name to put on your resume if you're Aljamain Sterling, and give you even more lay claim to the freaking belt. You know,
Yeah, he beats Edgar. It's
he
hard to
beats.
deny him.
How can anybody say that he does not deserve the belt if he beats Edgar? Like,
Oh, that's just is that a done deal as of this show, or is that just rumored at the moment?
it's rumored at the moment,
Seems pretty strong rumors.
but it
from what
seemed
we're
like
hearing
yeah. But the two people who freaking rumored it were Brett Okamoto and Ariel Hawani. So
Yeah.
if those two are talking rumors, then that means that it's
Probably
being
not nonsense.
contracts are being sent out. You know what I mean? Also to be we talked a little bit about before, but also to be rumored on that card is that Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman fight, which is rumored to be the headliner. So maybe this isn't
Let's
a title
hope so.
fight also, or it could be the co-main as a interim title fight.
Yeah, they'll do a 5-round co-main interim title. They might.
And
jack
they
juice
like
that up
they
for
like
MSG.
doing that MSG double title fights, and that's a way to add a title fight without
Aljo's from that
having
area.
it. Yeah.
Frankie's from Jersey.
But
That would all
also,
fit.
there might be some loops to jump through here, because Aljamain Sterling was talking about how he has some kind of weird something like heart something that New York State Athletic Commission has flagged him for before. So He said it on Rogan that he doesn't know if he'll ever be able to fight in MSG.
Wow. Well, let's hope that doesn't play out.
Another fight that's also supposed to be on that card as well is Kelvin Gastelum versus Darren Till. Now you said you heard that it was at 170.
That wasn't.
But
solid,
I've heard
that could have been a mistake on my part. Honestly,
I've seen. Well, no, I've seen them
at
both
all.
as a thing. I've seen 70 and 85. So that's one that both guys have come out and pretty much verbally agreed online. So let's see what weight that ends up being announced
I
at.
like it at 85. At 70, I feel it's kind of a pointless fight.
Yeah, 70. Both. Unless Gastelum really thinks he can beat him, because if Gastelum comes in and he beats him, then it just puts Gastelum in the mix of those guys at 70. But I think at 85, he's got a lot better chance of getting back to the top quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So that'll be interesting how that plays out if that one gets signed out. That's an interesting fight.
Very interesting. Especially Darren Till, if it were to be at 85, to see how Darren Till's power carries up and how his chin is
I
after
just feel
getting
he would
knocked
be
out.
improved at 85. Personally, I feel he would be stronger and
Absolutely.
tougher.
He's a big motherfucker,
Yeah,
dude.
he's very large, man.
Like,
I don't know how he's fucking getting this 170. Well, we've seen him go blind in a weight cut to 170 on fucking camera.
right, dude?
That's
Fuck.
how he's doing
He says
it.
he talks about it like walks around at 200.
Yeah, it's nuts. He should. 85 sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah,
The
fuck.
fuck do I know?
Remember how heavy he came in for the Wonder Boy fight?
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Well, that's some fucking interesting fights, man. What about we got an announced fight that I don't know. Maybe it's just my personal bias. I mean, we've got Amanda Nunes, who's awesome,
Yeah.
but it seems her next title defense is going to be at 135 versus Tremaine Durandame, who, notoriously in my eyes didn't, she gave up a belt at 145 instead of facing fucking Cyborg, and then she won that title after clocking Holly Holm 2 solid times after the fucking bell and
Yep.
fight-changing punches after the bell.
Yeah.
And I've just never liked her since. I've just been like, man, fuck you. I mean, it's just my personal
Yeah.
bias.
And I think, unfortunately, that's how a lot of people feel about her. She's talked about that before her last fight, and she said that she lost a lot of fans over the years because of what transpired. And I don't blame them, honestly. That was like the weirdest situation I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen a champion. First of all, that fight was bullshit, and even with the shots after the bell, I still think Holly won the fight.
Me too.
But to then drop the belt and just kind of step away.
Yeah, she
that was
issues this
strange.
little statement that is like she's trying to take the moral high ground by refusing to fight a former steroid cheat. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm the first to critique Cyborg, but come on, dude. She's clean in the UFC as best
Yeah.
as you can be. Like, this ain't fucking Strikeforce all these years ago. I mean, goddamn,
yeah.
y'all aren't in fucking Risen.
Although,
Like-
do you remember when the second fight in the UFC when they made Cyborg fight 140 and
Yeah.
she got flagged by USADA?
Oh, yeah. She said it was for something on her period.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. She said it was something like some diuretic they had to give her when she was on her period or something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that was shady, but there also could have been a legit excuse. But the problem with that shit is people who get flagged always have a quote-unquote legit excuse. Who fucking knows?
Exactly.
Remember when Jose Aldo's people knocked the fucking piss out of the fucking tester's hand?
No.
Do you remember that shit? Dude, they showed the USADA showed up in Brazil. I think it was.
What
before
about
the
when
Conor
Vanderlei
fight.
hid under the fucking octagon?
Vanderlei hid. They say John Jones hid too, but Jose Aldo, like a dude shows up in Brazil to test Aldo before the fight, and first they say they won't let him in the gym. Then they let him in there. Then they go through the test. Then he gives it to him, and then they knock the piss out of his fucking hand. Right? Then they refuse to do another piss, and then they call some government people and have him fucking deported.
What the fuck?
And then they're like, oh, he didn't have the right ID, so we thought he was a faker.
Which I don't know. I feel him. The
So
ID
it's like, wow,
thing.
what do you believe then? Because that's some shady shit. But I mean,
Dude, did you hear what happened
guess
to
you could
fucking
make that
Dennis
excuse.
Bermudez? He said some random people came to his house and
Oh
drew
yeah, and took his
blood and
piss, and it
piss.
wasn't even USADA.
Yeah, was it
Yeah,
USADA?
yeah, like a psycho showed up at his house. Was like, I'm here for your pee. I'm from USADA, right? And he was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool.
Blood too, I'm pretty
And
sure.
then later, USADA was like, we're here for your pee, and you were just here.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dun dun dun. That's fucking freaky shit right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That would fuck with me. That would fuck me up.
I don't like
Like,
Aldo,
what are
but
they
I don't
doing?
blame him. I'm just kidding. He probably was juicing.
Who knows? But it's just like everybody's got a story, so you don't know
Yeah.
what to believe.
Exactly.
But
Remember,
Cyborg,
even Rogan was
drained
like,
the
he looks
man.
deflated.
yeah, he was saying that shit. But that GDR when she refused to fight Cyborg
Yeah.
for the title, that and tried
It
to
definitely hurt her image.
hold it up to that, like get the fuck out of here. You were scared, and you fucked up. Everybody loves Holly Holm. Who doesn't love Holly Holm?
Yeah.
And you stole that fight to begin with, basically, and then you're stalking her after the bell, fucking multiple times. Yeah, you're gonna lose
Yeah.
some fans, and I just can't. I mean, that probably doesn't reflect on her as a person, but whatever. I don't know her. I'm just some
Yeah.
dude watching it. I'm like,
I just feel like
fuck that
Amanda's running out of contenders.
shit. She is, and I think she'll fucking beat her ass.
Yeah, probably.
Jordan Randamines, she's a good fighter.
She's a good fighter,
You
but
can't deny that. She's got that amazing.
she's
kickboxing
gonna stand
credentials,
with
but
Amanda, and Amanda's gonna drop bombs.
Amanda. Yeah, she's different.
Imagine
She's
how
special.
how much of the landscape would be changed though if Jermaine were to pull it off. How much you think that would change her image in general?
I don't even.
I think
don't
she would
even
gain
know.
a shit ton of fans if she wins that fight.
I
Everyone
hope
loves a
that-
comeback
that-
story, bro.
Yeah. I don't want that to see that action. That is not a result I would like as a fan. I'm a big Amanda Nunes fan.
I know
I
you
want
are.
to see her fucking blow the fuck up. But
I know, but wouldn't that just shake
I mean, it could happen.
the
It's
fucking
fighting.
shit
It
up?
would shake the world up.
Because Jermaine's got hands, dude.
She's got credentials. She's a
Like
good
her or
fighter.
not, she's got fucking
She's got
hands.
skills.
Yeah.
So did Cyborg, and look what Nunes did to her. Holly
Exactly,
Holm had
that's true.
hands too. Has
Yeah,
hands.
that's true. Good point. But you know who didn't have hands? Fucking Kat Zingano, and she beat her. Dude, speaking of that, Kat Zingano just got released from the UFC this week.
Crazy.
What the fuck?
I mean, her last fight was
She got toe
technically a
jabbed.
loss, but she got the toe in the eye, and
Yeah.
her eyelid was literally torn. Like she couldn't
Yeah.
continue. It wasn't like she lost.
Yep. Sad story, dude. Fuck.
What the fuck?
Where do you think she
man?
goes from here?
I have no idea. PFL, I hope.
That'd be cool.
'Cause I'd like
I
to
don't
see her
think she
win
could
some
fight
money.
in 55 though. I think
know,
they only
she's-
have a 55, right?
And I mean, I don't mean this in a negative way. She's a big girl, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
but-
met Kat several times. She's not small.
I think 35 is still her weight class though.
PFL the lowest they had. Did they don't have a 35?
I don't think so. I think they
55
only have
is
a
it?
55.
They just got the big girls.
I think so. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I was really surprised by that one. I know she's had a bit of a rough patch, but she's still Kat Zingano. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
But it seems like recently UFC is kind of trying to push away from that whole generation of fighters. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hope she lands somewhere good and gets fucking paid.
Probably Bellator would probably make the most sense. She could fight that, what's her name? The champ? Bud?
I thought she's 45.
Is she? Yeah, Cat
Really
could
above.
fight 45. Fight for
Cyborg
the
might
title.
Wind up over there too.
Think so?
Bellator.
I think PFL is a whole lot bigger chance. Why?
Yeah,
If
she
you're
could fight at
Cyborg,
55 too. She
if
could-
you're Cyborg, if the biggest fight in your division was in that
that
company,
tournament, yeah.
and there's $1 million waiting at the end of the rainbow, cash in real quick. Think she has ever made $1 million?
No. Well,
I mean, maybe accumulative.
cumulative, yes, because I did hear
Yeah.
that, like, for all that shit she was trying to say about the UFC, did you hear what they were fucking paying her when she was in Invicta?
What?
Because, they paid her Invicta salary. Like,
Yeah.
they moved her over there to Invicta, and then Invicta couldn't afford Chris Cyborg. They were paying her $90,000 a fight in Invicta. at a regional show. Do you know how crazy that is?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's fucking crazy huge money. Like, and there's no way on earth Invicta could afford anything resembling that. So, I mean, she was getting paid, and she probably has a cumulative earnings of that, but there's no way. She hasn't made $1 million in a fight. I couldn't.
Yeah, no. I don't think so either.
And she deserves to have. I'm not saying it's not deserved, but
Yeah.
she's a big star. She should be getting paid.
I wonder what
She's
their
on that
purses are like
rampage,
for
man.
their regular season fights.
They get like a salary or some shit. They get like guaranteed money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like they get purses and they also get like a monthly check.
Oh.
Unless they change something.
Yeah.
But like that was part of their whole thing. Not only they get money at the end, but then also the fighters, they know that they're earning cash. Like they don't have to worry.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to have any fucking loot.
Yeah.
They get a set fucking monthly money as well.
Or do they take their money, they sign a contract for a whole year, and they get paid that money throughout the year? That's probably
I don't
makes
know
more
the
sense.
details, but
And then there's probably performance bonuses.
quite likely. Their purses are decent for what they're doing. I mean, that ESPN deal helps. I mean, fuck them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whatever they're getting from them is a big fucking bonus. Cyborg might like that too. She can stay on ESPN on Thursday fucking nights.
Yep. Have her own night, separate
Yeah.
from the UFC.
She'll get that push from ESPN if she starts winning. which
They're
she
not even
likely
pay per view either. They're all viewership, so
will. Right.
you're just talking ratings at that point. And if we're talking people who are MMA fans who are home on Thursday nights, why not? If it's on ESPN, it's on ESPN, dude.
And she starts, getting some highlight reel finishes on their fucking shit, they'll pump her. And
Absolutely.
she's the type of fighter that seems very concerned about her brand and whatnot. So there you go. Build it on ESPN.
And she can spend as many seasons as she wants. It's a year-to-year thing.
Yeah.
It's a new roster every year. So if she wants to only do that one tournament, then bounce out. That's all she has to do.
Big money. At
Make
the
a
end.
lot of sense for her
Pretty
to go to
attractive.
PFL.
That's what I would like to see her in there. That would be pretty entertaining as a fan too.
So let's transition out of MMA for a second. Let's talk a little bit about some boxing.
What we got going on with the big boys in boxing?
Yep. So it seems like Andy Ruiz has called off the big heavyweight title fight in Saudi Arabia because he doesn't
Yeah, we had
want
a
it there.
rematch. Saudi Arabia, Anthony Johnson, Andy Ruiz.
Anthony Johnson, you always call him
I keep doing that, man. That's so fucking funny.
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua. Like for like a year now, I keep fucking saying that. I'm not a fan of Anthony Joshua either. But anyways,
But yeah, so
Yeah.
he says it's not
What's up with
happening.
that?
He said it's got to happen over here. He
Does
said he
that-
does not trust what's going on over there on Eddie Hearn's side.
there's a bit of a fucking pay disparity there too. What, 9 million
Yeah.
to 70 million, I do believe.
And then Andy Ruiz's trainer came out and criticized Eddie Hearn for signing, I think like 4 or 5 of his fighters that he signed have been flagged for PEDs.
Ooh.
So he's like, you sign a bunch of users, you expect this to go over to your place and freaking box over there with no testing? Nah, we're coming
Right.
back here.
No testing in sovereign nation.
Yeah. Damn.
Pretty controversial one at that
Yeah.
too. So I don't blame.
You think USADA's
for
coming to
telling
Saudi
Joshua
Arabia
to
to
fuck
test
off.
Khabib?
No, I don't. Oh, that's a big fight.
But
I'm
yeah.
sure they'll work it out.
I'm sure it'll get worked
But,
out, but
Damn.
do you think he gets the location changed? I don't know about that. There's
I
probably.
don't know about the location change because I'm sure Saudi Arabia's throwing a big hunk of fucking
I was
money.
gonna say
But he can get himself paid at least double that. 9 million's pretty
chump
low.
change.
I mean, it might be a big payday
It's
for
a
him.
big
in
payday for
comparative to his
anybody,
prior
but it's chump
fucking
change
fights.
for
Well,
fucking world
when
title
fucking
fight.
Joshua's getting 70
You're fighting for 3 fucking gold belts.
and you're fighting for 3 of the 4 main belts, yeah.
No, he's fighting for 4 belts, but 3 of them are the main.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck out of here.
We had Wilder and Fury date finalized as well. Kind of the other half of this coin of the heavyweights we're talking about, right?
Yep.
That's going to
for
be right here
February
in Vegas.
22nd in Vegas.
Day after my birthday. That'll be some fucking good shit. I'm hoping to go
Yeah,
to that
dude.
for the fucking birthday.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck. I'd be. Oh, dude, that'd be so gangster.
We can get our friends over at Slugfest Magazine to swing some of the media passes for their writer crew here, huh, boys and girls over there? Shit. That'd be even better.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
But, man, I like that fight. Now, there's a few
Fuck
things
yeah.
have to happen, though, before that fight. I mean, we've got Wilder and
Wilder's
Fury
still
both
fighting
have
Ortiz
a fight booked
in
prior.
November. Yeah.
Now, admittedly, Tyson Fury's next fight doesn't sound too dangerous any more than any fight is
Yeah.
dangerous, but it should be another good. I think it's a smart move for him to stay warm up and ready, especially considering his fucking long layoff that he's coming off of anyway. So keep the juices flowing. I'm not really mad at it being against a fucking nobody.
Well, he's fighting for
So,
ESPN now, so
he's fighting on
he's got to
ESPN,
fight
churning
he's
out
got to
an
fight their
appearance.
heavyweights, you know.
So he's got to do that shit. And then we've already got the Wilder fight signed, so what can we complain about?
Yeah.
Maybe the slight gamble, but however, Wilder's fighting fucking Ortiz, man,
Yeah.
right?
It's like,
Ooh,
what the fuck is he doing?
that seems dangerous.
Super dangerous.
I mean, he won the first fight, but
Yeah.
I mean,
what
there
are
was
you
moments where it could have gone the other way.
doing? Yeah.
I mean, shit.
And admittedly, it came out after the fight that Wilder had the flu during the camp before. And
Right, because
came
he
in
did come in
super light.
notoriously light for
Yeah.
that, yes.
But all that aside, he still had some bad moments in that fight.
The man
Real
can
bad
still punch.
moments.
Ortiz is a strong dude.
Yeah.
And
Ortiz
been
is
looking
700
all
years
right.
old, too.
He's 700 years old. He's had 800 fights, and he's still got bricks in his fists.
He's seen it all.
No, that's a much more dangerous fight.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
comparison to Tyson Fury's upcoming bout.
Yeah, I don't even know who the guy is.
Now, do you think what if fucking something crazy happens when Ortiz wins? Do you think they keep the Fury fight? You think there's a clause that they keep that fight, or does that just knock everything off the table and they start
Might
looking at
just
the winner
knock-
of Johnson?
Yeah.
Fucking, I said it again.
Joshua.
Jesus, Joshua versus Ruiz.
Well, the good thing about that is Wilder's in November, and then I believe December is when Ruiz and Joshua is, right?
Yeah.
So they're back to back. So if
By the
Wilder
time
were
it
to
gets around
lose,
to Wilder, Fury
Yeah.
will know what's up.
we'll know what's going on.
Fury probably is counting on that shit.
If fucking Ruiz comes in there and makes light work of Joshua again, maybe you have Ruiz do a quick turnaround in February 22nd in Las Vegas. You have Ruiz
Fight.
versus Fury.
Oh. That'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
I love it when heavyweight boxing is exciting, man. We went through that fucking long ass period of boredom under the Klitschko
Yeah,
fucking rule.
Jesus.
That it was just like, oh, I couldn't even paying attention. It was like, fuck me.
Yeah.
And then fucking Tyson Fury came along and just upended that whole fucking thing. But then, of
Then
course,
he
he went
goes
away,
away.
and we're like, fuck.
And then Anthony
And then
Joshua's.
Joshua was
So-
pretty boring. I mean, he's all right. I'm
Yeah.
just not a big fan of the British style of boxing for the
Yeah.
most part. And Wilder's been around making some noise, but he hadn't really caught on until this Fury fight. Really,
Well, he's been on Showtime. Not everyone has
it's like,
Showtime.
wow. Yeah.
You know,
And now we've
Showtime
got
makes a
him-
lot of money, but they're also kind of like a niche. Like, they're like first of all, not very many people have cable packages these days anymore. A lot of people have gone towards like subscriptions on Hulu and shit like that. That's why I thought it was really strange when he turned down DAZN to re-sign with Showtime.
He must have thought DAZN wouldn't stand the test of time or some shit. I mean,
Yeah, that's where fighting is going, is streaming. I don't get it. Maybe Showtime is gonna do some kind of streaming deal with his fights. Maybe
I don't know. I canceled DAZN after the first month. I'll be honest,
Dude,
haven't
I
had it
still don't
since.
get charged the hell.
No,
I
you've
still
kept
get
it,
10.
and because they doubled their price. They went from 10 to 20,
20,
right?
but I
you're
only get
like
charged
grandfathered
10.
in with your 10.
Yeah.
That's good because man,
Locked it
I
down.
bet you would have canceled if they did a bunch.
If it was 20, I would have called and be like, I don't. My son signed up for this. He's a little kid. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a son.
Fucking DAZN. Well, they seem to be doing something hopefully better by now. I honestly haven't watched too much on their platform. But
Yeah.
what was it? Was the Canelo fucking
Yeah,
fight on there?
Canelo.
I watched that over at someone else's
Yeah.
house. But
Canelo's on there. Fucking. There's been some good Bellator fights on there.
yeah, I mean, their Bellator productions have come. I've caught a few of those here and there. But shit, you're right though. The future of is certainly streaming.
Well, it's not even that. It's like streaming is. It's at a point where it's like people aren't buying cable anymore. People are like, I'll just get Wi-Fi and get Netflix, Hulu, this, that, and the other, and that's only going to add up to $60 a month. Or I could get cable with HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, all the different stars, all that different shit,
Yeah.
and it's like, and then pay $190 a month.
Well, dude, I'll tell you straight up, I haven't had cable since I was in Colorado, and I went a couple years without cable in Colorado before I moved out here, and I've been out here in Vegas like 6 years now.
Well, think about
I've
it
been
too. You don't
streaming
even
everything.
Yeah,
dog.
you don't even need cable too, because
No.
you could just download the ABC app, the NBC
Yeah,
app,
I haven't
the
missed
MSNBC,
anything I want to watch. I can fucking watch.
yeah, like
so,
TBS. You could just download all those apps and just watch shit.
Right.
Like so it's I don't know. It's changed how people watch everything.
And there's all kinds of other solutions out there too for those of us that might be a little bit more adventurous when it comes to streaming.
YouTube and all that shit too.
There's Kodi and other apps similar to that open up a lot of fucking doors.
Yeah.
That cable just doesn't have,
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, this doesn't have shit to do with fighting, but honestly, you know what's going to happen though is all these fucking companies are going to jump into streaming and they're going to overplay their hand and keep raising their fucking prices. And pretty soon, if you want to get all the shit, you're going to be sitting there with $150 streaming bill every month, and we're going to be right back where we were talking about. God damn it!
Then cable prices are going to drop.
Cable prices are going to drop.
It's going to take
people are
back
gonna
over.
Be like,
well,
reattaching the cord. Or
that's what's
what's
strange is everyone's like, nobody watches TV anymore, but only thing people watch TV for is live sports. I know like 5 or 10 different people I know just have cable for live sports.
Yeah.
Like,
Same here. Most of the people I know of cable have it for live sports.
Yeah.
And like these shows that are quote unquote doing big, like you look at some of these talk shows, like whoever the late night talk show guys, I don't even watch that shit, haven't in years. But I see some of the ratings, in the news and shit, and they're pulling like 1 million, 2, 3, 4 million viewers. Like Joe Rogan does that on fucking YouTube per episode, man. And a lot of them squash that shit. And that's just a guy uploading his own fucking show.
Yeah.
The world has changed.
That doesn't even include all the people that watch it live.
Right.
So
the fucking world has changed.
Absolutely.
And that circles us back around to the UFC not needing to sell them fucking pay-per-views and that Disney money behind it. They're on board with that.
That's why everyone's WWE selling this shit.
Right. Because what we're going to be able to get...
Whatever makes
noise,
Hulu, whatever makes
the Disney Channel and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, it's ESPN Plus, Hulu, Spotify, and fucking Disney Plus, which is every movie Disney's ever made, which includes Marvel.
Includes Marvel now. So that's going to open doors for the UFC into homes that they would traditionally get through like a cable distribution. And
it's only gonna be like $20 a month or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
that should help. That should help.
That's just gonna take over
with ESPN and these fucking ratings, and hopefully, we'll get like we said at the beginning of the show with some of these fucking better cards.
Yeah.
So, shit.
For sure. I don't know. That doesn't help. That doesn't mean they're making them though, because then we still have shitty cards like 2 weeks from now.
We're not gonna have an episode next week because we don't really have any.
We don't have any fights this upcoming
fights
week.
really to be focused on. But we'll be back after that.
Yep, we're
taking our usual 2 weeks off. Typically we do 2 weeks, although we drop a lot of weekly episodes. Honestly, but
really just depends on when the cards are.
Yeah, for sure. So, thank everybody for tuning in. That probably wraps the show today, man. We got to load ourselves up some weed. I need to take a trip to the dispensary. And folks, if you're new to the show, thanks for tuning in. You can catch us on Thursday nights, WBUZ 95 on radio.net or the Orange Radio app. We're at 6 o'clock here on the West Coast and 9 o'clock Eastern Time. All that info is where?
SWATmma.com, where you can hit on the gear button and get that shirt right there and support the podcast. Or head over to YouTube and drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all that bullshit.
Appreciate it, everybody. Peace.